But this is iMS. iMS is a web-based system, so it can be used across any platforms, any browsers. It's best used in Google Chrome. That is what we're most compatible with. I'm going to just kind of walk through some various things in here and probably specifically focus on some of the areas that our current and future license holders are seeing as new areas inside of iMS. To start off, iMS, like I said, is a web-based platform. For licensing specific, we decided that we were going to add kind of a different entry point for our license holders. Most of you are in here every 2 years. We didn't want you to have to create an iMS account and try to remember a password that you'd be only using every 2 years. So we did add a new point called a guest mode. So for our license holders, they can access iMS as a guest, which takes out the credentials to have an account. If you were previously using iMS for anything and you already have an account, you can still use that account to use that account to have licensing type activities. And a user account is also helpful if you are somebody that holds multiple licenses or maybe are business license holders. The guest is limited to just licensing activities. So if you do use iMS as a guest, you are only able to apply for exams, do some searching specific to licensing, or renew your license. You won't see any other of our tiles here. If you do have an account with us, if you've already created one or you decide that you are open to creating an account to manage various activities related to your license, that'll look a little bit different. Individuals that have an account with us also have an opportunity to submit plan reviews, submit permits, submit complaints to our enforcement unit, as well as apply for exams or pay license related fees. So we do require an account for those other activities. So here is kind of a different view of iMS as someone who would be in here as a user. You can see there's more tiles available and searching specific to those other tiles as well. So searching in iMS is probably one of the biggest things that has changed with the implementation of licensing inside of iMS. Prior to iMS, there was a web app that we had on our DLI website that external users could access to search by trade or search for an individual specifically, or even search for themselves to see your continuing ed or work experience hours. That application is now gone, and we just have the search capability inside of iMS. We do have a couple of different file exports that is still available on DLI's website. Those are specifically kind of important to our permit techs. It allows a permit tech or anybody has access to it, but it is a big file that you can download, where you can download our entire database of issued license holders or trade specific. So that is still available on our DLI website if that is something that is helpful to you. You are limited in iMS when you're searching to a threshold of about 10,000 results. So that's why we created that file export that external users could download, because sometimes certain license types exceed that 10,000 mark. But for searching inside of iMS, there's a couple of different ways that searching can happen. For you as a license holder specifically, if you're doing some various activities in here that might cause you to have to search yourself to find your license to renew, or maybe you've just applied for an exam and you need to come back in and schedule your exam, there's a couple of different ways that you would be coming back into iMS. If you're coming back into iMS specifically related to exam activity, we do send out email notifications that walk you pretty explicitly through the process on how to do that. There's only one way back into an application. So if you're taking an exam with us and you need to come back to your exam application to schedule your exam, reschedule, or make payment, the only way that you can do that is through the secure link that is in the email that you received, or by typing in the application number into our quick search box, which is in the upper left-hand corner of iMS. This is the only way back into a application. You will not see any applications if you do just a broad search in iMS of all of our license holders. And like I said, we send out an email to you related to that activity that really outlines it. There's also help pages on our website that you can refer to. But just one note that if you are trying to get back in for application related activities, there are only a few ways that you can do that, and they're very secure and locked down for privacy purposes. But otherwise, if you're doing, a search for yourself because you want to see, how many education hours do I need? Or if you're searching for another building official, those searches can be done inside of the license and registration tile. It's the same look, whether you're in as a guest or you're in as a user. There's always going to be that search license and registration holder tile. I will say that if you do have an account with us and you log in and you do have the access to the other tiles, just note that if you search in a different tile, you're limited to the data found in that tile. So if you quickly click on search reviews, you're not going to be able to search for our license holders here. This is limited again to just plan review activity, same with any of the other tiles. So search license and registration is where you're going to want to go to do that searching. I'll just kind of quickly point out a couple helpful tips when you're using our search. We've gotten a lot of feedback from the external users that our search in iMS isn't as user-friendly as it was on the DLI website. So we're really trying to, educate people. We've put a lot of documentation out on our website. I know that that isn't always the best way to kind of point people to read long procedures, but today I'll show you a couple of tips. You do have an option when you're searching to pick from all of this criteria. Most of it's pretty self-explanatory. License and registration number, that's going to be your license number. So we need a full license number in there. You can, if you know your complete license number, including the prefix in the front and then the 6 digits at the end, you can use that quick search again. This is not limited to just the application numbers. You could plug your complete license number in here, and it would bring you directly to your license if that's the activity that you wanted to go forward with inside of iMS. If you're not sure what your license number is, or you're searching for another individual or a group of individuals, then this would be the area that you're going to go to. Searching by license and registration number here, though, you don't have to put the complete number in. You could leave some of the digits off if you just weren't sure. Licensee person name, that's going to be for an individual record. So it would be you looking yourself up or you looking another person up. You would use the licensee person name. Something that's really important to remember when you're searching up a person's license is you have to use a %, which is not a wildcard key, but it helps break up our search because most of our licenses have either a middle name or a middle initial in them. So that's one area I know is really frustrating to people. They might search themselves and just plug in John Smith and either get way too much information or not any information. And that's mostly because likely there's a middle name or a middle initial in there. So it's not finding, it's going to weed out those that have the middle name or middle initial, and you aren't going to get what you're looking for. So all you have to do when you're searching like that, like I said, is put the % right in the middle. And it's going to tell iMS, find me everything that's got John and Smith, whether there's an initial or a middle name in the middle of it. So you get a much better return when you break up specifically a person search like this. Some of the other options that you have here, license or registration type and discipline, these are pick lists. So similar to our old search, you can select one of these and you could run a search for a specific license type or a specific discipline if you wanted to see all of the building officials in a certain area or all building officials. As long as it's under that 10,000 return threshold, you'd be able to find what you're looking for like that. Issue date, expiration date, probably not super useful to our external users, but this would allow you to search by a date a license was issued or expired. You have city zip as an option, personal and business. This was another criteria that was available to you on our website. where you could type in business or personal, and it would also limit you. Company name and DBA, you could search by either a business name or their DBA using that. And then the license prefix, that's just the 2 letters in front, if that's helpful. Another helpful tip when you're searching um, for licenses in our system is remembering that you can add parameters on. Like I said, we limit you to 10,000, a 10,000 threshold. That's because it would completely bomb our system down if we kind of opened up the gates and said search for whatever you needed. So we put that parameter in there so you can limit it. If you were to, for example, use this discipline and then want to select all building officials, this isn't a good place for that. If you're wanting to see all building officials, a better place to find that information would be on our website, like I said, where you can download that export of this information. Searching like this is going to give you that error message that says you've exceeded the threshold. If you've got more information that you want to hone in on regarding something like this, like let's say maybe you want to plug in city, like let me see all the building officials in St. Paul, or let me see all the building officials in this zip code, or that were about to or were issued in a certain date range or expired. You can add on criteria by hitting this parameter button and continue to build a little bit more of a unique search so you don't get that message that says to you, you've exceeded your limit, try again. So that's another option for searching. So again, helpful tips, use the parameter button. If you've got a bigger search that you can neck down a little bit, use our website to do the exports for the larger files. Those export into an Excel spreadsheet that you can very easily manipulate. And then remember when you're searching by a person's name to put that % in the middle of the front and last so you can omit the middle initial if there is. What can you see on your own license? You know, kind of going back to the search there. Like I said, if you know your full license number, you can plug it in here and it will bring you right to your license. You can also plug part of your license in here. You can search by your name, lots of options to get where you're going. So once I get where I'm going, if you're plugging in kind of an exact match, right, like your full license number or your full name, it's going to just pull you right to your license. If you've given iMS limited information, like not a full license number, or you have a common name and you get a list, then you'd get that list of license holders or names and you would just find yourself and pick it. This is what it looks like when you land on your license. On the staff side of things, we obviously have full access to everything on your record, but when external users are looking at a license, this is what you're limited to. Um, it's helpful for you to review your license before you renew. Maybe you know that you're going to have to change your address or your email. You could confirm what you've got on file with us before you renew. You can also see the qualifications that you sent into us when you applied for your limited or your BO. Those are available to you. Maybe that's helpful if you're applying to take the building official exam and you hold a limited license. You can see what you've already received points for. So a few things that you can see on your license. One of the most helpful features of looking yourself up and having some access is our education. I know before you could see some components of the continuing ed you had taken. iMS has expanded upon that a little bit. And we do have an education report that you can run on yourself. So once you've located your license, if you go over to the right-hand side, you should see a print button. Behind that print button is 2 public-facing reports. One of them is work experience history. For building officials, we don't have any data in that report. That work experience history report is more tailored and unique to our apprentices or registered on licenses as they submit experience to us. We log it and then they can kind of see their hours as they look forward to testing up. So you can run it on your license, but you wouldn't necessarily see anything. But going back to that continuing education report, this is something that we really built out with you guys in mind. We wanted this to be a really good point for you guys to go back and kind of keep tabs on where you were at with your education as you get closer to your expiration dates. On this report specifically, there's not a lot there because this individual happens to be a license I just created for our demonstration today. But on this report, what you would see is your previous license cycle and your most current license cycle. So for this individual, if he had been licensed for longer than a day or two, he would have a 2023 cycle below this one. As you take education, it would start to accrue at the bottom of the report. You could see the date specifically that it was submitted to iMS, submitted to licensing, which was then submitted to iMS. You could see the course itself, how many hours were broken out and what categories they may have gone into. And then basically this starts kind of chipping away as the education rolls in. Right now, this individual still has 35 hours that they need to obtain before their 2025 cycle. We only keep 2 cycles in there, so you'd only see your last cycle and your most current cycle. Also, when we kind of start to add in the education there's a hyperlink to that education course that you could click and see the course and various components of that. Maybe if you were kind of confused on the breakdown of hours or something like that, you could go back and refer to that. But that is the education report. This is also a helpful tool behind the scenes to us because this is the way that we auto renew licenses. So if an individual is up for renewal and we receive a payment, if that license type is eligible to be auto renewed based on their education requirement met, if this report reads met, then behind the scenes, the system knows once the payment is received, if it's eligible, we auto renew. So we're renewing licenses much faster now that we're inside of iMS because of the technical pieces behind the scenes that this report gives us. All right, the next piece I'm going to talk about is another big impact to you as our license holders, and that's the communication that comes out of iMS. We have heavily turned against paper and rely a lot on email communication to you guys coming from iMS. It's very critical that we have a good email address on file for you guys because you receive a lot of pertinent information from iMS. Most importantly is our renewal notices. Our renewal process is a little bit different inside of iMS. We're going to send you an email at 60 days prior to your expiration to remind you that your expiration is coming due. At that point, when you receive the email, we hope you log on, look yourself up, check to make sure you've got education, your education met. And at that 60-day mark, you are welcome to renew your license as long as you've got your continuing ed met. At 30 days, if we see that you haven't renewed your license, we're going to send you another email. We're also going to mail you out a postcard like you're used to seeing at that point. At the 10-day mark, if we still have seen that you haven't renewed your license, we're going to send you out another notification letting you know you've got 10 days left. And then after that, it's up to you. So it's really important that you make sure when you come on to renew that you confirm that your email address is correct with us. Like I kind of mentioned in the beginning, those emails contain a lot of really important information, specifically the renewal ones. That's going to have a link in the email that you can actually click on and it would bring you right to your license like you're seeing now. If this license was eligible for renewal, there would be a big orange button right here that said renew. You click on it. We ask you, hey, check your email, check your mailing address. If you have any changes, please let us know now. You can update your information. We give you a screen to upload documents if you might have anything. Maybe you want to upload your certificates of education with us. You can certainly do that if you want. And then we collect payment. And like I said, if you have your education met, once we get that payment, we're going to auto renew you and let you know, thank you. We'll send you out your card in the mail soon. Other important communications that come out, like I also mentioned, are the exam components. When you apply with us for an exam, that's how we communicate quite a bit to you. We don't send out hard copy letters anymore. You'll get a notification once you have submitted your application. You'll get a notification once you've been approved to take the exam. that email communication that you get with the approval is going to tell you how to sign up for your exam, how to reschedule, and give you some helpful hints on just different components of that, rescheduling, canceling, etc. And then once you pass your exam, another email will be sent out to you with a secure link that will allow you to come back in and pay your license fee. So email communications are much heavier inside of iMS, but we hope that that leads to expedited services for you guys. We also send out quite a bit of automation to business license holders. We keep in pretty constant communication with our business license holders, which is much different than it was before. We're letting business license holders know your expiration is, your insurance is about to expire, your work comp is about to expire, your responsible individual or your qualifying person is about to expire. We do everything in our power to make sure that they're constantly staying current with us so that when we get in our heavy renewal periods, we're not bogged down by companies that forgot their liability expired, or maybe the responsible individual doesn't have the education that we need. So we've got, like I said, just a ton more communication going out, which I'm sure could be a little bit obnoxious to some, but it really is to kind of keep things moving quickly for you guys. And like I said, expediting some of those services for you.